Hello everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We are back. Andrew is here, I am here. We're going to be talking about one of the most hyped up Grand Prix of the entire season here in Miami. Now, Andrew, what were your thoughts on the whole Grand Prix as a whole? Let's just start with that.
As a Grand Prix as a whole, I thought it had a good start, had a good end, but the middle was quite boring.
Yeah, I agree actually. I think it was, I just think it wasn't as good as it was hyped up to be. Of course, we all the older fans kind of knew this wasn't going to be a great circuit. But no, yeah, I think it was kind of overhyped, but obviously it's Miami, we're going to have some fun, eh? But no.
I think it was a bit like a Monaco with a good start and finish, would be how I'd describe it. There was a decent-ish qualifying, the start was entertaining, and the finish was good, but that's purely due to the safety car. Yeah, so
fair enough, yeah. Okay, let's talk about first thing first. Let's do our predictions, Leo. He'll be here in a minute, actually, Leo, so you can have the bugger. But let's talk about our predictions here. So Leo, can you put them up on the screen now? This was our predictions from the Imola Grand Prix. So I said that Max would get pole. That was wrong, which is annoying.
So I said Leclerc would get pole. So I think in our predictions game, that gets me
a few points. Yeah, that gives you something. we'll have to look at that in a minute.
We'll put all this in a pinned comment as well.
Yeah. Alright, so I said Perez was P3. Who was P3?
P3 was Sainz.
So neither of us got that. You guys said Hamilton, so neither of us got that. P2 Leclerc, both of us said that. Both of us got that right, and both of us got Verstappen being the winner.
So that's quite a few points for us there. Leo, hopefully Editor Leo will put this either on top or we'll put it in a pinned comment or both. And
our surprise of the race we had. I think our surprise of the race, I said George Russell, you said Lewis Hamilton. Now, who was I'm going to say, who we haven't actually decided the surprise of the race or a flop of the race here.
You guys comment down below who you think the surprise of the race was.
And the flop.
And the flop of the race. And then in our pinned comment later.
Yeah, we'll see the most commented driver will take that W. They will make sure to mention that. And driver of the day. Who actually got driver of the day in the end?
I don't know actually.
We both said Verstappen.
We may have to quickly check this. We both said
the day.
We're not very organised today.
No, not at all. We didn't organise enough. Verstappen.
So it was Verstappen, so we both get the points for that.
So I believe, without doing the surprise and flop of the day, you are
winning by a point.
Winning by that pole point.
Or it could be 2 points.
It could be 2. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, he's winning by. Now let's go on to back onto the Miami weekend. So the new circuit. How well do you think that performed?
I've gone into it. So the overtaking seemed. It was sort of like the overtaking wasn't too hard if the faster car was behind. Mm-hmm. But once the cars had sort of sorted themselves out into the faster ones are ahead and the slower ones are behind, it just became a boring Grand Prix. So I'm not sure whether that's because simply the faster car was ahead, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Or whether that's the track's fault. I'm not really sure. I think it wasn't the best Grand Prix. However, I can understand why F1's put it in there, and I do think it's good for all the American F1 fans.
Yeah,
to have, because with the US being so big, it's like separate countries.
Yeah, I agree. And my left ear is just, I can't hear my left ear. Okay, that's weird. Moving on, I literally can't hear my left ear now, that's not normal. Okay, that's weird. Anyway, that's not concerning at all. Let's talk. That's actually really weird. Let's talk about Lando's incident. I'm gonna have a look at this now.
So whilst you're setting this up or getting it ready, this was a bad incident for both Gasly and Norris. It ruined their race. They maybe get a few points, but they weren't going to get loads. So it was obviously annoying for both of them. And however, this is going to really annoy you because you're a McLaren fan. I'm glad it happened because it did excite the race up a lot due to the safety car.
It did spice things up a little bit.
So I'm sure you would have rather it been like Latifi spinning off.
100%. I wish it was Latifi. It probably would have been Latifi.
But anyway, I'll let you analyse it now and say why it happened.
Okay, so this one is an interesting one. I'm going to just play the speed back a little slower. Oh, that's 2.
Oh, and also hopefully Editor Leo will put this on top.
Yeah, and not put it in like full speed. So 0.25% speed. Oh, it's a weird one. This is an outside camera now. So Lando kind of he does cut slightly across the front of the AlphaTauri there. Let's skip to an onboard shot. I think there's an onboard shot. No, there's not an onboard shot. Are you actually joking me?
Well...
Okay, well, hang on. Let's find an onboard shot.
Whilst Frankie's finding an onboard shot, what I'm gonna say is my view on it. I think it was kind of a 50-50, but more on Gasly's fault, so more of like a 55-45 in favour of Norris being the good guy. I think that's purely because it looked like Gasly had some sort of problem, like a heavy steering or something, like Verstappen had. I'm not really sure. So that would have made it harder for Gasly, but I think if he knows that, he probably should have managed to get out of the way of it a bit more, because it looked like he was going off the track like loads and then couldn't control his car, and that's why it was offline. So I think that's more Gasly's fault. However, I don't think Lando Norris should really have cut across him, and I think also, to add to it further, I think Gasly was on the radio at the time when it happened, and he wasn't really focusing. Yeah, and like you could hear on his radio, it was like, my steering wheel got a big problem. Oh, and
okay, so here we are.
I'll sit back now and let you go.
Okay, so on board with Gasly, he's gonna. Oh wow! As soon as I. All right, here we go. So he's run wide now. He's lost his position to that Haas. I believe he lost the position to Haas. He's run off wide. He's coming back on the circuit now. And let me speed this up a little bit because it's a bit too slow. Oh yeah, he's positioned to 2 of the Haas, I believe. He's coming out here now. He's got the power down. He's going out. And Lando appears here and boof. Oof, that's an interesting decision. I want to see it from Lando's angle, really. But let's take a quick look at this. Hang on. I want to go back and have a look at that again. Okay, that's not helpful. Right, back here. So Lando comes across. I think that was fair enough. I think Gasly did kind of go. He kind of kept going out, even though his steering wheel was turned to the right. Sorry, he is moving across the line of that McLaren. So I don't think that's on Lando. I think that might be on Gasly. But let's take a look from Lando's POV. Whilst I find that, Andrew, keep on talking, my friend.
So I believe neither of them got any penalties for this. So they were both. They're both out the race, but there was at the FIA. I think they investigated, but nothing happened to either of them. So
right, I'm on board with Andy. So he's going to come through here. It's not a very good angle. He's come across. He's not really gone too far to the right, and he's been taken. So yeah, I'm going to have to say that one was probably on Gasly.
Actually, no, I don't think Gasly was taken out of the race. Just Lando.
No, Gasly was fine. It was just Lando who was taken out.
So do you think that this warrants a penalty for Gasly?
I mean, he wasn't really. He wasn't concentrating on him. Obviously, he was on that radio. So, I'm not sure. I believe that is probably on Gasly. Just because of the fact that he's come across him there, and Lando was on a fair line, but
yeah.
Gasly was probably. I think Gasly just came across him a bit, and I think that was probably on Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, and I think he had some sort of mechanical issue. I think he should have got right out the way of all the cars instead of just.
Exactly. If he had that issue, then he should have been out of the way. Right, let's move on to Alpine. A poor performance today.
Not today,
but the weekend.
The weekend was poor. Like with Ocon having not qualifying, I don't think, but he didn't qualify. And then also Fernando Alonso dropping out of the points due to a penalty with his collision with Lance Stroll, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
I believe so.
Like Alpine, their car seems to be a bit like the Mercedes, really good in some circuits, really bad in others. Melbourne, they were on for a pole. Here, Ocon isn't qualifying, and Alonso's finishing like 12th. So
yeah,
it's a poor performance from Alpine's point of view. I'll let you add anything you want to.
No, one thing I have seen though is in this season, it looks like either your drivers are 2x2, or one of them's at the front and one of them's miles back.
Yeah.
That has looked kind of a bit weird, isn't it?
I think that is the 2022 regulations though, because
some drivers are just really good at it.
Yeah,
and then others also struggling a bit.
It seems like at one track, one car's amazing. Then it's so back and forth. Like every team so far this year's got points.
Yeah, every single team within 4 races, which is insane.
So, it's like the two are at the front, which are the Ferrari and Red Bull.
Yeah.
However, the rest are all just mix and match, really.
Pretty much, yeah. You can't really predict who's going to come.
Yeah.
Within P5 and 6, really, it's pretty hard to predict.
So it's really good for F1. Imagine if it was like this for the whole.
For the whole.
Like
for the
you
whole
had
grid,
no
yeah.
idea where everyone was going to come, and it was purely down to track design.
Yeah, that would be pretty good, wouldn't it?
So I think whilst we're on the F1 regulations and people moving back and forth on the grid, should we go for Mercedes?
What
and
Mercedes?
How they showed signs.
They
of
showed
performance,
signs of improvement today, didn't
and
they?
then like in FP2, George Russell being the fastest car and Mercedes being second.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we get to Saturday, and
They've
George
fallen
Russell
off.
has a slower lap than he did in FP2.
Yeah. That can happen. That's fair. I mean, that's not a one-off. That's never happened before. But, I think everything for maybe wasn't on it fully in.
And then also in the race, instead of being the fastest car like they appeared it's possible for them to be in FP2, they go back to being third or maybe fourth quickest car, depending on how the Alfa Romeo and Bottas is.
Precisely, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of cars falling away, being slower, McLaren. Another bad weekend then for them.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Like, we drew on this slightly with Lando Norris.
Yeah.
But even before that, it wasn't like they got a podium last time. Here they are again coming, like, where did Ricciardo come? 15th?
Yeah, something like that.
And Norris,
I think 14th.
if he was even on for any points, Norris, it would have only been like 2, maybe 4 points.
Yeah,
So
it was just depressing to watch. He came out the pit lane, he just got overtaken, and then he just didn't get back through.
Yeah. Obviously, this does show that backwards and forwards.
It's a lot, isn't it? Because the Alpha Tauris were there, the Hasses were there, the Hasses of. The whole grid is just all over the place. It's so cool to watch. But I wish it was at the front. But
yeah, if there's anything you want to add about the McLaren, because again, McLaren's your team, so.
I don't know. I think we're just struggling on the hard circuits, but I think it's like that for every team. They're having a good weekend, bad weekend. I think the McLaren the only other team other than Red Bull and Ferrari to get in the top 3. No, Mercedes. Sorry, yeah, Bahrain. But yeah, no, I think we're just like the other teams really with mixing and matching really. So
yeah, again, I think it is the hot circuits for you, like you said that. So I think you'll be next time Spain, which isn't particularly hot or cold.
Yeah.
It can be coldish compared to some of the other circuits, so I think you'll probably do well there. But yeah, should we move on to Alfa Romeo then?
Yeah, sure. Alfa Romeo.
So mixed fortunes again for them. So Guan Yu Zhou had to retire early on in the race, and then.
Oh yeah, with about 3 laps.
Yeah, and then Bottas got a P7. Could have been on for a P5 if he didn't make that driver's mistake. But again, for Alfa Romeo, they've already got more points than they had in the whole of last season. They've already got 3 times more points in just 5 races. So they've jumped up again. But it's basically every team in the bottom 4, they've all jumped up compared to last year. And the rest of the midfield teams
seems to have fallen a bit, haven't they?
Yeah.
Especially Aston Martin.
Again, they're just mixed. But even saying that though, Aston Martin were dreadful in the first 2 races.
And then they've
come back, and they seem to, as I'm sure we'll get to later, had quite good pace in some areas of the race.
Yeah, they're
just a bit unlucky with crashes or incidents.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking on that, I think this whole season, it's going to be crazy. I think this season, the fight for the midfield fight is just going to be insane because it'll be a different driver every bloody time. But yeah, no, I think.
And then, I think it was last week when we were trying to rank the teams in where they were, but
it's impossible.
It's impossible because last week I think we decided Ferrari and Red Bull first, second.
Yeah, and then McLaren.
Then you said McLaren third, and Mercedes. But then now we've come back and looked at it again. You've got to say Ferrari, Red Bull, still Mercedes, and the Alfa Romeos.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty hard to judge so far. So before we continue, should we make our predictions for Spain?
Yeah, we could do that with the middle and then come back just to break it up a bit.
Okay, so let's take a look at this then. Miami.
Spain. Not Miami.
Spain. I don't know why it reminded me. Spain. Not Span, Spain. Right. Who do you think is going to be on pole?
I think Carlos Sainz has restabilised the season. I'm going to go bold and say Carlos Sainz on pole this week.
That is...
He was quite close to pole this week. I'm not sure what his record is around Spain. However, I think he'll improve and he'll get somewhere near pole position.
You're hoping for a bit of a good home Grand Prix for him then?
Yeah.
I'm going to go and say Leclerc gets pole again. I think he's that Ferrari's good in the quali, so...
Yeah.
I just think...
So...
Alright, so that's your third.
Third, I'm going to go for Carlos Sainz, even though I put him on pole.
That's fair enough. I mean, we saw him obviously pretty much give the position away to Max. We'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah, that's fair. P3, I'm also going to put. I'm also going to go with Carlos Sainz.
Okay, and second,
You go first. 'Cause I'm not sure here.
I'm not sure either. However, I do think this race is going to be quite a weird one because Spain's obviously not renowned for producing the best races. However, I think these new regulations and these new cars, they're going to shake it up. And I think it's going to be our first incident of the year between Leclerc and Verstappen. I think this is going to be the first proper incident.
You think? Okay, that's bold.
I mean, they've gone 5 races when it's been pretty friendly. However, and basically all of them have been side by side at one point between the two of them.
Yeah.
Or nose to tail at least. I think this time it's going to be there again. But I don't think there's Spain's best for overtaking, so I think it's going to be our first incident of the year between them.
Okay, and you think they're both going out of the race?
I'm going to put Lewis Hamilton in second.
Okay, that's yeah, okay.
But
And
I'm
you put him first?
going to put Max Verstappen in first.
You're going to say Verstappen comes out
Yes.
5? Okay, well my...
that's I've just gone on a massive string there, so it's completely possible for me now to not get any points in my...
Yeah, that might not go so well for you, but we'll
and
find
I
out,
basically created a whole fantasy there, but I can just see them coming together this time, but Verstappen being better off without it. Anyway, let's see your hopefully much more sensible predictions.
Second, no, I'm joking. I'm going to say it's going to... I'm going to have hopes for Leclerc. I'm going to say Verstappen comes second, and then Leclerc wins the race.
Okay.
Alright, surprise of the race, that's going to be...
And we will definitely make sure we know the surprise of the race before recording the next podcast.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Okay, so who is your surprise of the race going to be?
Well, I can't not say Hamilton after I put him in second.
That's
so I'm going to
fair.
say Hamilton / Mercedes.
Alright,
if I'm allowed to do that, so just Hamilton.
Yeah, the surprise would be much one driver.
Yeah.
Okay, my surprise is going to be... I think McLaren might do alright in Spain because it's a bit cooler than Miami, and I think that McLaren is...
But then do you think that people will call that a surprise then? If they're...
I'm going to say the Haas actually. I'm going to say Magnussen. He's getting in P5, P3. No,
P3?
P4, P5 I'm going to say. I'm going to go Magnussen, getting a really good result. And he's going to be surprised at the race. Flop of the race then, Andrew.
Obviously Charles Leclerc, because I've said he's crashing out.
Okay. I'm going to say that I think that Aston Martin are going to struggle again. So I'm going to say the flop of the race will be Stroll. Oh, and Editor Leo has arrived.
Hello.
Anyway,
hello.
So,
say hello to the viewers.
Hello, viewers. How are you doing today?
A nice meeting from Editor Leo there. So now, driver of the day. This is the F1 based one, which the official driver of the day. So I'm not sure whether they would vote for Hamilton coming in second, or whether they would then move to Verstappen. Who I think he'll have recovered from the crash, which I've already said he's put in. But I'm gonna go for Hamilton.
Hamilton? Okay. I'm gonna go for Magnussen.
Magnussen for the driver of the day for you.
Yeah, because I'm gonna say he comes like P4 or something in as well.
Okay. So that's it for our prediction game. Make sure when you see the video about who you think flop or surprise of the day is.
Say, because we need to know.
Yeah, in the comments.
Yeah.
That will probably be whenever the race is. It will probably be on the Sunday night of it. So
alright, let's move on.
Let's go
Ferrari.
back to should we speak as Ferrari and Red Bull as a whole in their battle, or should we just speak about?
I'm going to speak about here the fact that it looks like the Ferraris are diving out of the way of Max Verstappen. Everyone seems to be getting out of his way, and that was probably something to do with his aggression from last year. And I kind of just wish, that they would be much more like someone would just not get out of his way and there'd be contact or whatever. But I don't care for contacts, because in my opinion, Max is way too aggressive. It's not fair racing. He's just driving into people pretty much. It's like, if you get out of the way, I'm going into the side of you. Now, obviously there's drivers in the past like Senna who were just legendary for that kind of attitude, but I think they had a bit more respect than Max does. He doesn't seem to have any kind of respect for other drivers. So, honestly, I don't think that that's a good way of driving. Obviously, it's his driving style and it is effective, but in my opinion, it's honestly just not very fair. But I just think Leclerc and Sainz especially on the first corner, he had the line. He could have had the inside running a really long right-hander. He just dived out the way.
But then you've also got for Sainz, you need to give him some leeway, because what he was trying to do was trying to not overtake Leclerc at the same time.
Yeah,
because he didn't want to overtake Leclerc. So by staying ahead of Verstappen, it would have put him into a battle with Carlos Sainz for
Leclerc for first.
Yeah. Carlos Sainz.
Carlos Sainz fighting Carlos Sainz here. But no. I think. Oh God, did you take a mugshot of me? No. Okay. So no, I think they're just diving out the way. I understand, obviously, as you say, he may be trying to not get past Leclerc, but in reality, he's letting another driver through, and that isn't racing. Yeah. And then you have Leclerc on that straight. He went to the outside,
and he just is like saying,
let him through.
Here's the door, please, on your way.
He just opened the door, and it didn't close the door, and it opened it, let him through. And then from there on in, I was like, right, this is a boring race. Max is gonna go win it. Apart from that safety car, but apart from that, it was nothing. Nothing actually happened.
And then also, adding further to Ferrari's seemingly lack of aggression, with their strategy, they could have gone bold with it, putting at least one of their drivers onto a two-stop early and committing to that, instead of just extending both of their driver stints and knowing that they're happy just to finish second. Like, they could have put Red Bull under some pressure or put Red Bull into a dilemma, but no, they just extend the stint, go for the one stop, be boring, and just be happy with second.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to be with an attitude that we're only losing 7 points to them. But if they continue this attitude,
if they continue in losing
in like 4 races' time, they'll be behind.
Yeah, precisely. I think you have to agree with you on that one. Right. Well, I think that wraps it up. I think there's nothing else to talk about. Is that it for you? Have you got anything else to say?
Not really. We've had quite a short episode this week.
Not really. I mean, 20 few minutes. That's fine.
But there's obviously much more we can talk about, but most of the other stuff's been talked about by someone else.
Yeah,
you don't want to have.
It's been covered.
Yeah.
But I think we'll leave it there. Edison is here.
Hello.
Doing Duolingo.
It was an. It was an alright race.
It was okay. It was way too hyped up, my opinion.
Yeah.
Ridiculously hyped up, but then obviously it's Miami.
That's the money for it. That's getting F1 lots of money.
The fake harbour though.
Yeah. Oh.
That's hilarious. But no, I think we'll leave it there then, won't we?
Yeah, so thank you very much for...
Wait, can I do the outro?
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Editor Leo's doing the outro.
Okay, I just want to say thanks for listening. It's been a great time on this podcast for the final 3 minutes hearing Frankie and Andrew talk. And I really hope you subscribe and enjoy all of our content, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we will.
Goodbye, guys.
That is it. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for listening. And that sounded like a year 6 end of like a presentation. Bye. Goodbye.